I should have known something was wrong when my twins, Emma and Oliver, started acting strange 3 weeks before their school play. They'd always been Mama's little performers, practicing their lines in the kitchen while I cooked dinner, but suddenly they went quiet whenever I entered the room. "They're just nervous," my husband Mark assured me. But after 8 years of raising twins, I knew my children. This was different. The changes were subtle at first. They stopped asking me to help them rehearse. Their bedroom doors, which had always been open, started staying closed. When I check on them, I'd hear hurried whispers and rustling papers, but nothing prepared me for what happened at the school play. I sat in the front row, camera ready, wearing the Proud Mom shirt I'd specially ordered for the occasion. The twins were playing lead roles in their school's production of The Wizard of Oz, Emma as Dorothy, Oliver as the Scarecrow. They'd been ecstatic when they got the parts 2 months ago. The first warning sign came when they wouldn't let me help them get ready backstage. "Mrs. Wilson will help us," Emma said, avoiding my eyes. Mrs. Wilson was their drama teacher. "But I brought your costumes," I said, holding up the garment bags. "Don't you want me to?" "No." Oliver cut me off sharply. Then softer, "No thank you, Miss Anderson." "Miss Anderson." "Not Mom, not Mommy, Miss Anderson." I stood there, garment bags hanging limply from my hands, as my 8-year-old twins hurried away without looking back. Mark put his hand on my shoulder, but I shrugged it off. Something was very, very wrong. The play started, and despite my churning stomach, I felt a surge of pride watching my children on stage. They were perfect. Emma's voice was clear and strong as she sang "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." Oliver's comic timing was impeccable as he flopped around like a real scarecrow. Then came the scene where Dorothy misses home. Emma was supposed to say, "I just want my mom and dad." We practiced it 100 times at home. Instead, she looked straight at me and said, "I just want my real parents." The audience didn't notice the change, but I felt like I'd been slapped. Next to me, Mark stiffened. After the play, during the meet and greet, other parents came up to congratulate us. "Your twins were amazing," they gushed. But Emma and Oliver stayed across the room, clinging to Mrs. Wilson's side. When we finally got them in the car, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. "What's going on?" I asked, turning around to the passenger seat to face them. "Why are you calling me Miss Anderson?" Silence. "Emma? Oliver? Please talk to me." More silence. Mark tried. "Kids, you're worrying your mother." "She's not our mother," Emma whispered, so quietly I almost missed it. The rest of the car ride passed in horrible silence. As soon as we got home, the twins ran to their rooms and locked their doors, something they'd never done before. I stood in the hallway between their rooms, listening to their muffled whispers through the walls, feeling like a stranger in my own home. "Give them space," Mark said, but I couldn't. These were my babies. I carried them for 9 months, been through 26 hours of labor, nursed them, changed them, loved them through every fever and nightmare and skinned knee. I went to the kitchen and started stress baking, my usual coping mechanism. 3 batches of chocolate chip cookies later, I decided to at least put their backpacks away. They dropped them by the front door in their rush to hide from me. That's when I found the letter. It fell out of Emma's sparkly unicorn backpack as I picked it up. A crumpled piece of notebook paper covered in my daughter's careful 3rd-grade handwriting. "Dear Real Mommy," it began. My hands shook as I smoothed out the paper. "Dear Real Mommy, Mrs. Wilson told us the truth about you. She showed us the picture and everything. We know Miss Anderson and Mr. Anderson aren't our real parents now. Mrs. Wilson says you're coming to the play to see us. That's why we've been practicing extra hard. We want to make you proud. We won't tell Miss Anderson we know. Mrs. Wilson says it's a special surprise. She says you had to give us away because you were too young. But now you want us back. She showed us where you live and everything. Oliver is scared, but I told him real mommies are better than fake ones. Mrs. Wilson says you're beautiful and you sing just like me. She says you've been watching us grow up from far away. We can't wait to meet you for real after the play. Love, your real daughter, Emma and Oliver too." The letter floated from my numb fingers to the floor. Mrs. Wilson, our trusted drama teacher, the woman who'd been spending so much extra time with my children lately, offering after-school rehearsals, bringing them special snacks, becoming their confidant. My mind raced back over the past month, the twins' sudden interest in staying late at school. The mysterious phone calls they'd begged to make from Mrs. Wilson's classroom phone. The way they'd stopped sharing their school stories with me. In the kitchen, Mark was calling the twins down for dinner. Upstairs, their doors remained firmly locked, and I stood in the entryway staring at a letter that threatened to destroy everything I knew about my family. Who was this real mommy? What picture had Mrs. Wilson shown my children? And most importantly, why was our drama teacher telling my 8-year-olds that they were adopted? Because they weren't. I had the stretch marks and labor videos to prove it. I pulled out my phone, ready to call the school principal, the police, anyone who could help make sense of this nightmare. But then I heard Emma's door creak open upstairs. Is she here yet? My daughter's voice drifted down. Mrs. Wilson said our real mom would come get us after the play. My heart shattered into a million pieces. Somewhere in my house, my twins were waiting for a stranger to claim them, while their mother, the real mother, stood frozen in the entryway, clutching a letter that had just blown her world apart. The next morning, I sat in Principal Stevens' office, the crumpled letter trembling in my hands. Mark had taken the twins to school. They still wouldn't ride with me, while I arrived early for this emergency meeting. Mrs. Anderson, Principal Stevens said, her face grave as she finished reading the letter. I can assure you this is a serious violation of professional conduct. Mrs. Wilson had no authorization to share any personal information with your children, let alone fabricate such stories. I want to know who this real mother is supposed to be, I demanded. What picture did she show my children? The principal typed rapidly on her computer. Mrs. Wilson isn't due to arrive for another hour. We'll get to the bottom of this immediately. In the meantime, a knock interrupted her. The school secretary poked her head in, looking flustered. I'm sorry, but Mrs. Wilson just called in sick, said she's taking a personal day. My stomach dropped. She's never missed a day, I whispered. Not even when she had the flu last winter. Principal Stevens was already reaching for her phone. Let me call her directly. We sat in tense silence as the phone rang and went to voicemail. Check on my kids, I suddenly blurted out. Please, right now. The secretary hurried out. 5 minutes later, the longest 5 minutes of my life, she returned, face pale. They're not in their classrooms. Their teachers said they never came in this morning. But Mark had dropped them off. I kissed them goodbye, or tried to. They turned their faces away before leaving for this meeting. My phone buzzed. A text from Mark. Kids okay, school just called saying they're absent. The room started spinning. Principal Stevens was calling security, ordering an immediate campus search, but I already knew. Deep in my gut, I knew. Mrs. Wilson had my children. The next few hours passed in a blur of police officers, security footage reviews, and increasingly desperate phone calls. The security cameras showed Mark dropping the twins off at 7:45 a.m. They'd walked toward their usual entrance, but as soon as his car turned the corner, they ran around to the back of the school where a silver Honda was waiting. Mrs. Wilson's Honda. She's been planning this, Detective Rivera said, reviewing the footage. Look how the kids go straight to her car. They knew she'd be there. I watched the grainy video of my children willingly climbing into their teacher's car, clutching their backpacks, looking excited rather than scared, because they thought they were going to meet their real mother. We've got her address, another officer announced. Units are heading there now. But Mrs. Wilson's house was empty. Her closets were cleared out. Her computer was gone. On her bedroom wall, they found what they called her research board. Photos of my family going back years, printouts of our social media posts, newspaper clippings about the twins' births. She's been obsessed with your family, Detective Rivera explained. We found journal entries dating back to when she first became the twins' teacher last year. She's been unstable since losing her own twins in a custody battle 3 years ago. Her own twins? I repeated numbly. She lost all parental rights after a mental health crisis. They live with their father in Oregon now. They're about your twins' age. The pieces started falling into place. The extra attention she'd given Emma and Oliver. The way she'd volunteered to direct the school play just to spend more time with them. How she'd slowly poisoned my children against me. My phone rang, an unknown number. Everyone in the room fell silent as I answered on speaker. Mom? It was Emma's voice, small and uncertain. Baby, where are you? Are you okay? Is Oliver with you? Mrs. Wilson says we have to wait here until our real mom comes. But Mom, I'm scared. The lady in the picture doesn't look like Mrs. Wilson said she would. My heart raced. What picture, sweetie? What lady? The one Mrs. Wilson says is our real mom. But she just got here and she looks different. Mean, not like in the picture at all. Detective Rivera was frantically tracing the call while another officer recorded everything. Emma, listen to me carefully. Mrs. Wilson lied to you. I'm your real mom. You and Oliver were never adopted. I have all the pictures from the day you were born, remember? In the blue album you love. A pause. Then Oliver's voice, farther from the phone. The album with the hospital pictures? Yes, baby, with the pictures of you both wrapped in those striped blankets. Remember how we counted your tiny fingers and toes in those photos? Another pause. I could hear muffled voices in the background. Then Emma again. Mrs. Wilson says we have to go now. But Mom, the lady she brought, I don't want to. The call cut off. Got it. Detective Rivera shouted. They're at a motel just outside of town. Units are 3 minutes out. I grabbed my keys, but they wouldn't let me go. They made me wait at the station while they conducted the raid. The longest 20 minutes of my life until finally, Detective Rivera called. We have them. They're safe. Mrs. Wilson is in custody. And the other woman? I demanded. A heavy pause. You should know, Mrs. Wilson had contacted a woman online, promised to sell her the twins. The real mother's story was just to get them to cooperate. The world tilted sideways. Sell them? My babies? The woman had already paid half the money. She's also in custody. Mrs. Wilson appears to have been running a small trafficking operation, targeting children who matched the descriptions of the twins she lost. I barely made it to the trash can before throwing up. When I finally got to the station, my twins were huddled together on a bench, looking small and scared and so much younger than their 8 years. The moment they saw me, something broke in their faces. Mommy, they cried in unison, running into my arms. I held them close, breathing in their familiar scents, feeling their little hearts racing against mine. Safe. They were safe. We're sorry, Emma sobbed. We should have known you were our real mom. Nobody else knows about the hospital pictures with our crooked toes. Or how you sing the dinosaur song when we're sick, Oliver added. I just held them tighter, knowing we had a long road ahead. Therapy, healing, rebuilding trust. But for now, my babies were back in my arms, calling me mom again. 6 months after what we now call the incident, I sat in Dr. Martinez's office, watching my twins during their weekly therapy session. They were drawing their feelings. Today's topic was, what makes you feel safe? Emma was carefully coloring what looked like our family bed, where they'd both been sleeping since that day. Oliver's picture showed our kitchen, with me baking cookies and him helping, just like we used to. We'd come a long way since those terrifying hours when I thought I'd lost them forever. The nightmares had mostly stopped. They no longer needed to check if I was real every morning. But some scars ran deeper than others. Mrs. Anderson, Dr. Martinez said softly, would you like to share how you're feeling about next week? Next week, Mrs. Wilson's sentencing hearing. The twins wouldn't have to attend. Thank goodness. But Mark and I would be there to deliver our victim impact statement. I'm ready, I said, though my hands shook slightly. I need to look her in the eye. The investigation had revealed more horrors than we'd initially imagined. Mrs. Wilson hadn't just targeted my twins. There were other families, other children she'd been watching, photos, plans, detailed notes about their routines. We'd stopped her just in time. The woman who had agreed to buy my children, a desperate woman who'd lost her own daughters in a car accident, had taken a plea deal in exchange for exposing the entire operation. Mrs. Wilson was facing 25 to life. Mommy, Emma looked up from her drawing. Are you going to see the bad teacher? That's what they called her now. The bad teacher who told lies. Yes, baby. But you and Oliver are staying with Aunt Jenny, remember? They nodded solemnly. Aunt Jenny, my sister, had become their safe person besides Mark and me. She'd moved in with us for the first month after everything happened, helping the twins process their trauma while I dealt with my own. Can you show her our special picture? Oliver asked, the one we made. I pulled out the carefully folded paper from my purse. The twins had worked on it all week, a drawing of our family with a message written in their wobbly handwriting. We know who our real mommy is. I'll make sure she sees it, I promised. That night, after tucking the twins into their own beds, a recent victory, I found Mark in our home office, reviewing security camera footage, a habit he developed since the incident. "They're healing," I said softly, wrapping my arms around him from behind. He covered my hands with his. "We all are." The next week, I stood in the courthouse bathroom, straightening my jacket and practicing my statement one last time. The twins' drawing was tucked safely in my pocket. In the courtroom, Mrs. Wilson looked nothing like the friendly drama teacher we'd known. Her face was gaunt, her eyes hollow. When she turned to look at me, I saw no remorse, only a vacant stare that chilled me to the bone. I approached the podium, my voice stronger than I expected. "6 months ago, you tried to steal my children, not just their bodies, but their trust, their sense of security, their understanding of family. You made them doubt the one thing every child should know without question, who their mother is." I pulled out the twins' drawing. "But you failed. Because real family isn't about pictures you show or stories you tell. It's about every skinned knee I've kissed, every nightmare I've soothed, every silly song we've sung. It's about knowing exactly how they like their sandwiches cut and which stuffed animal they need to sleep. It's about love, something you tried to twist but couldn't break." Mrs. Wilson's face twitched. "My children wanted you to have this," I said, holding up the drawing. "They're healing, growing stronger every day. And they know, with absolute certainty now, who their real mother is." The judge sentenced her to 30 years without parole. That evening, I found the twins in our backyard, playing their new favorite game, Family Security. Oliver was pretending to be a guard dog while Emma checked the locks on our fortress, the playhouse. "Is the bad teacher going away forever?" Emma asked as I joined their game. "For a very long time," I assured her. "She can never hurt anyone again." "Good," Oliver said firmly, "because you're our only mommy, forever and ever." I pulled them both into my lap, remembering how close I'd come to losing this. Their warm weight against me, their matching giggles, the complete trust in their eyes when they looked at me. "Forever and ever," I agreed. Later that night, as I did my own security check, another new habit, I found a new drawing taped to the twins' bedroom door. It showed our family, Mark, me, Emma, and Oliver, surrounded by a giant heart. Above it, they'd written in bright red crayon, "Our real family." I touched the drawing gently, thinking about how love can be both incredibly fragile and unbreakably strong. How my children had walked through darkness but found their way back to the truth. How family isn't just about blood or birth or legal documents. It's about the thousands of tiny moments that bind us together, stronger than any lie. We still have hard days. Days when the twins need extra reassurance, when fears resurface, when trust feels shaky. But we face them together, as a family, real, whole, and healing. And every night, before bed, we have a new ritual. The twins each place a hand over my heart and say, "Real mommy." And I place my hands over their hearts and reply, "Real family, forever and ever." Because sometimes the deepest truths are the simplest ones. And love is the strongest security system of all.